Howdy, howdy, folks. It is DIECASTS Buffet here again, and what a finish to the first ever Cup race at Gateway, which saw Joey Logano steal the victory from Kyle Busch, who I picked Kyle Busch to win the race. He got second there. Make sure to pre-order your race to win diecast for Joey Logano. You can use the promo code down below and save big on shipping, guys. Make sure to check that out. I don't know if they're going to be making a 164 for it, but luckily, the 164s, the Gen 7 era, were actually available at the Gateway weekend, which I anticipate them to be at Sonoma. Well, let's go ahead and dive on into it. So this is an inaugural event for the Cup Series, very reminiscent of how kind of Kentucky was, how it had numerous amounts of seasons through the Truck Series or Xfinity or then Busch and Nationwide to kind of build up the racetrack, and then they finally got a Cup day. This has been around for about 2 decades, give or take, for the other 2 national series here. But this one was a very interesting race. Was it better than I expected? I'm not too sure. I expected some cautions, right? The battle attrition has been really high this year, which I very much appreciate. But I didn't expect as many lead changes as we saw. It's a pretty short race, about 300 miles, give or take. Very reminiscent of New Hampshire or Phoenix in terms of the race length and the way the track runs. It's a very unorthodox speedway. However, though, we did see some drama, though. We did see Chastain versus Denny Hamlin. We did see a little bit of Stenhouse versus Bubba Wallace versus Denny Hamlin as well. I mean, Hamlin was just on everyone's case, it seemed. And then you had Chase Elliott trying to take out Chastain. Chastain was on everybody's radar. So to me, that was the highlight of the whole day. That was really interesting. I was hoping Hamlin and Chastain would wreck each other or something. Who knows what they'll say after the race. But anyways, it was interesting to see how them two go about it. My honest opinion on their debacle, it looked like they were racing hard, and Chastain being aggressive just got tired of Hamlin messing with him, so he dumped him out of the way. I'm not saying he should have put him in the fence, but he put him in the fence. But I'm really surprised they didn't black flag the 11 car for literally driving as recklessly as he did, like, in the back of the pack. I mean, Chastain was having to slow down so much, right, wrong, or indifferent, regardless what driver you're a fan of. I'm really surprised they didn't tell the 11 to clean up his stuff or get off the track, because it was kind of dangerous there. I mean, like, the one car had to slow down so much just to avoid the 11. If this was Earnhardt in the one car, he would have spun out Hamlin probably 10 times. Like, if that was Mike Skinner in the 11 car, he would have been spun out like 10 different times. So I'm really surprised the patience Chastain had there. With the incident with Chase Elliott getting spun out, honestly, I put more blame on Dillon than I do Chastain, because Dillon had half of a groove underneath him worth of room coming off turn 4, and he drove up into Chastain, and then Chastain ricocheted, pinballed into the 9 car. No one really put any blame on the 3 car. Maybe I'm blind, but yeah, I think the 3 car would just send it, go for it. But it's racing, man. It was good racing in terms of that. I will say though, the restarts were really a little disappointing compared to what we could have seen at a 1.5 mile. You know, you go to Charlotte Motor Speedway and you look how crazy the racing was, the duking and diving, the 3-4 wide racing, and the ability to pass each turn. It seemed like as soon as you got clean air here, it's so hard to pass. Very reminiscent of how it usually is at New Hampshire. I don't know, man. I'm not really a big fan of flat tracks that are wide. I'm just not really a fan of them. It reminds me of New Hampshire, reminds me of Phoenix, reminds me of Richmond. If you've been watching the channel for years, you would know I'm not that big of a fan of those tracks. But it really does remind me, and this one's kind of out of left field, it reminds me a lot of Homestead 2002, one of the inaugural configurations of it. People forget that Homestead was like flat as a board until they repaved it in 03, which thankfully they did, because Homestead probably wouldn't even be a racetrack nowadays if they didn't reconfigure it, because it wasn't that good of racing. Was it a success? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you sell out a crowd, you put on an overtime finish, regardless who wins. It was definitely a success. If it was just one driver leading 200 laps with 3 cautions, I don't think they'd be here in 2 years. So no doubt about it. I think it was a success. However, I would love to see more banking at the track. I am all in favor of more banking at every track. I've been very vocal. I don't think Richmond or Phoenix deserves 2 race dates. I don't. The racing is just not that good. It blows my mind. We go to a track like Las Vegas, we go to a track like Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you look how good the racing is, even Kansas. And the racing is incredible. And then we go to the flat tracks, and it doesn't matter if it's Gen 6 or Gen 7. I will say Gen 7 is much better than Gen 6 at the flat tracks. To me, the racing is just not that good compared to what it could be if we went back to Chicagoland, which is a hot rumor in the NASCAR universe that Phoenix might lose a race date and Chicago comes back. Fingers crossed. It could be a bunch of it could be a bunch of crap, but who knows? I hope it does. I tell you what, if we could have if we could have been at Chicagoland Speedway today, the race would have probably been 10 times better. But I do think it was a success here, guys. Gateway doesn't deserve to be on the Cup schedule. It depends what track you're looking at. If we're talking Chicagoland or Gateway, I'm going with Chicago. Okay, if we're talking Old Texas Motor Speedway or Gateway, I'm taking Old Texas Motor Speedway with high speeds and the proper 1 and 2 banking with no BS resin or traction compound on the racetrack. But yeah, I do think it was a good race, but it wasn't a great race. I just wish the track, to me, the problem with flat tracks, guys, is when they're flat and they're really wide, you can get away from the guy really easily. You go to Martinsville, you're heel and toe, you're always near them, right? You go to Charlotte Motor Speedway, when you have 3 groove racing and high speed, you have so much room to pass somebody. But when you go here, it seemed like as soon as you get out front, as soon as Logano passed Kyle Busch, I knew, okay, yeah, white flag's in the air, but he's already won the race, right? Go ahead and put his name on the trophy. It's over because there's just no way you can get to him. But to me, the highlight of the day absolutely was Chastain versus Denny Hamlin. That was a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of flat tracks, big flat tracks. I love Martinsville, right? I love Martinsville. But like tracks like Richmond, Phoenix, Gateway, I think they could use a little bit more banking. Maybe that's contrarian, maybe that's out of left field, but hey, man, when you put banking on these tracks, they generally, it helps them. But I gotta say, hats off to everyone who promoted the event. Sold out crowd, the energy, very reminiscent of Nashville last year. I'll even throw out very reminiscent of Kansas 2001. It just has that inaugural race feeling for it. And they did a pretty good job. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a good race. It wasn't a great race, in my opinion, because I feel like the battle for the lead could have been a little bit more aggressive. But throughout the pack, it was a dogfight, though. I mean, you had 2, 3, 4 wide down the straightaways. It's amazing to me how people race so much more aggressive for 10th place than they do for the lead. It's amazing to me. Like, everyone is just going for it in 10th place, but to get to the lead, they're a little bit more conservative about it. It's really interesting. Anyways, what do y'all think, guys? Make sure to comment down below. And if you're a Logano cat, make sure to go ahead and pre-order that race win car. The inaugural Gateway, St. Louis, Illinois, Worldwide whatever name they want to call this track. Like, there's 4 different names they have coined this place. Gateway, St. Louis, Worldwide Technology Speedway, I don't know, Illinois. Just call it Gateway. Let's just pick one name and run with it. The track's in Illinois, apparently, but they call it St. Louis because it's adjacent to it. I don't know. Anyways, I just wish they'd pick one name. Sonoma's coming up next week. Hopefully Chase Elliott and the Hendrick camp can get things kind of turned back around. Gateway kind of throw them a little bit of a curveball. We got Joey Logano getting his second win of the year. I picked Kyle Busch because it's like, he wins Bristol Dirt. He was really good at the Clash. Joey Logano stole it, but it's all good, though. Hopefully Sonoma will be a lot of fun. They're going back to the old Sonoma layout, the one that they had, I think it was 99 to 2017, I think, something like that, which I really like. So I'm excited for that. Thank y'all so much for watching the video. If you can, please give it a huge thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for 4,200 subscribers. You folks are amazing. And look forward to reading your comments, guys. I do hope we come back here next year for Gateway, which I think they will. It was a really good race. I just feel like it could have been a little bit better for the battle for the lead. I feel like they could have been a little bit more aggressive. But that's just what happens when you have the wide racetracks. Anyways, have a great one, everybody. Diecast Buffet. Signing off.